This is it. This is episode 312, No Laugh Track Podcast. I'm Justin Severson, the host. I am here with someone I just met 3, 4, 5 minutes ago, Alex Edelman.
Hi, thanks for having me, dude.
Hi. Welcome to Minneapolis.
Thank you.
Day, I guess, 3, probably?
Day
week,
3.
Right?
Day 3.
Yeah?
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
All right.
So day 3.
How has it been so far?
Incredible. It's been a really... last night in particular was a lot of fun. It was one of the best shows I've had in a real long time.
I sort of barely overheard you saying that to the guys in the back office there from here.
It was real special. I like this club a lot. It seems like a really good club for stand-up comedy, which is really fortunate because that's what I do.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
You found the right place.
It was a great comedy club for baking, but no, this is a really great comedy club for comedy. So yeah, I'm pretty happy.
Have you been here before Tuesday? Had you been here before?
Not this club. I've been to the Twin Cities one time. I opened for Beck at the Palace Theater.
Yes.
That was pretty cool.
Just going to bring that up, that I almost saw you a little over a year ago.
Really? You almost went to that show?
I love Beck.
Oh, he's amazing, dude. Yeah. He's so good. And that show in particular was a lot of fun. He's really special and talented and funny.
Let's talk about that for a second. How did that happen?
I was opening for Ryan Adams, the musician.
Right.
Not Brian.
No.
Ryan.
I know the difference.
Oh, a lot of fans don't, which is weird. But Ryan Adams is a real special singer-songwriter, and one of his and I guess one of his guys ended up working on the Beck tour and recommended me as an opening act. And Beck was like, "Yeah, crap, let's give it a shot." So I ended up opening for Beck, like here in Seattle and Milwaukee and a few other places. It was fun. It was real fun. I had an absolute blast.
How was it doing it before a musical act?
Great. Really easy. You just go up there, do your thing. Like I'm a real believer that stand-up comedy can kind of work anywhere. You know, the best, it can be made special by a great venue. But I've done every kind of show, and I've always had a really good time. I mean, I'm not going to say it's easy. It's definitely not easy. It's a real hard job. But
now going on tour with Beck or doing some shows with him, they're like, I still haven't been to the Palace Theater, but
it's cool.
Yeah, I've heard. I mean, that's not like 200 people just sitting here like at a club. It's a little bit bigger than that.
Oh, it's huge. It's like 2,000, 2,500.
Yeah,
like
and there's people. They're not necessarily all in their seats or in their spot when you're performing.
Seats.
Yeah. So how is that for you when people are still walking in?
You just try to rope them in, give them a bit of a hypnotic eye. Just try to get everybody engaged and excited, and it works out for the most part. People listen. People listen and sit and have a real. It feels pretty intense, and it's a lot of fun. I
don't go to a lot of shows, music concerts these days. My 20s, I did all the time. I rarely saw stand-up beforehand.
Oh, yeah. It's not common. It's not super common, yeah. but it can be great. And for me, it was doing those shows for him, especially Milwaukee. That one was special for some reason. Everyone was in their seats early, and the crowd was focused, paying attention. I left on a real good note. I had a great time.
And how was Beck just as a guy?
Great. Beck is really, and I'm not one of those guys who would say, I've opened for acts before that are real shitty or real difficult. But Beck is cool and laid back, and he's a perfectionist, but like not an asshole perfectionist, just like long sound check perfectionist.
Okay.
And like I gotta watch him work and prepare all the time, and he's got a real solid work ethic when he tours, and his crew and his band are treated real nice, and his band is made up of like really great musicians in their own right. So just watching that whole unit sort of work together as a family made me wish that stand-up was a little less of a solitary endeavor. But it was really nice, and he is I don't have a bad word to say about him, not a single one.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's so boring to say nice things about a guy, but I wish I'd be like, Beck's a jerk. Beck likes to kick small dogs in his spare time, and that's the only thing you put in, right? You
I've heard that
around
as well.
That. Yeah. you edit around that, but
that's right.
But yeah, it was cool. It was a cool gig.
Very cool. Were you a fan of his beforehand?
Yeah, but a way bigger fan now.
Yeah. Okay.
Watching him live for a few nights in a row, that'll make you a real big fan.
You know what I know most about Ryan Adams was that I had a guys' weekend getaway once, and my buddy played. We went camping at somebody's land, drank a bunch of beer.
Sure.
Games. One of my buddies played that. Him doing was it the Taylor Swift?
The Taylor 1989.
Yes, over and over.
Oh my
and
gosh,
and over and over.
That's so weird because I think that his original stuff is incredible, but I think that's what a lot of people know him for that, which is crazy because his original stuff is way better.
Yeah.
But, different guy than Beck.
And different guy than Brian.
Yeah, different guy than Brian Adams.
Mm-hmm. For sure. The big scuttlebutt around here last week was that you were coming to town and going to record here.
Yeah, I'm recording an album. I'm recording an album Friday and Saturday, my first comedy album. So
why do you say it like that? First comedy album?
Well, I've had a lot of material. I've done 3 hour-long solo shows, different hour-long solo shows, and people keep asking about the first one. And it doesn't. People go, "Where can I get your first hour?" Which is called Millennial. And it doesn't exist anywhere. It was a special for the BBC, but they own the rights to it, so that that is that's occasionally on the BBC in England, but it doesn't exist here. So I thought, I might as well dip into that back catalog and try to sort of resurrect it a little bit. So I'm doing it. I'm doing that, and I'm doing it for this record label called 800 Pound Gorilla, which seems like a young, hungry, cool record label, and it's surprising to me because I thought I would have done one years ago, but I just never got around to it, and this seems like the right place to do it, and I'm psyched about it. I'm really psyched.
Whose idea was it to do it here?
I'd heard a bunch of good things about this place, and I'd never been, and my agent said, "Where do you want to try to do it?" I said, "How about Acme in Minnesota?" And she went, "All right, well, we'll ask." So she asked, and it's been great so far. But I'm really hoping people come out Friday and Saturday. I got 4 shows. It's my first time here, so. And this is not a small room, It's 250 seats, something like
225, 250, something like that.
So I really want to sell it out and make folks pleased to be here because I am pleased to be here. So that'd be really cool. But recording my first album, it's nerve-wracking and exciting and unusual and a lot of fun.
Now, what is it like going back to material from how many years ago?
4 years ago.
Okay, that's not normal.
No, but it's nice. It's like revisiting an old pal or something like that. It feels... It's unusual because
cheating on the newer stuff.
What?
You're cheating on the newer stuff.
Meaning, yes, that's sort of how I feel. I'm dropping in 1 or 2 new jokes, just because. Or here's what I'm doing. I'm dropping in jokes that I'm proud of that weren't part of the second and third hour.
Oh, okay.
So I'm doing the first hour and jokes that are sort of a part of that, and I've had a great time doing it, but it's also meant that hour is a little bit longer than it has been in the past. But I'm really really excited about this special chance to do an old thing that I sort of look back on real fondly because that's how my career started with that first hour. I was not working full time as a comic when I wrote it, and when I finished touring it, I was working full time as a comic, and I've never gone back. So, it should be fun. It should be a nice endeavor.
What do you mark as the start? What or when do you mark as the start of your comedy career?
The start of my growth as a comic, I can trace back to when I was a teenager and starting out in Boston. But the watershed moment for comedy as a full-time thing was winning the Edinburgh Comedy Award in 2014 for Best Newcomer.
Right?
With this hour, it was called Millennial. The word hadn't really flowered yet into this crappy catch-all phrase that we all know it now as. Uh-huh. But it was a real moment for me, and I had this real inkling that my life would change a tiny bit, and it did. And I've worked steadily as a comedian since then. It's been a wonderful, wonderful journey. but I do miss sort of the hungry, lean days of not really genuinely not, knowing what was going to happen or being aware that something was developing into a bit of a special moment.
Can you still do that just by trying new things?
Oh yeah, no, I definitely look. The funny thing is that show is great, but it certainly isn't near the comic that I am now. And I've gotten better, and my newest hour is one that I'm very proud of, and I can't wait to eventually lay that down as an hour-long special. But this is what. This is sort of what I'm ready for. I'm ready to revisit that and sort of indulge in it one more time before I put it to bed, hopefully for forever. And it's been really gratifying to get back into some of that material because I've done 2 weekends before this, one in Grand Rapids, one in Chicago.
Okay.
So I haven't fully leaned into some of the material that I'll be doing Friday and Saturday, given that I haven't tried it in several years because it requires a projector. So we're going to be using a projector tonight,
asking about that.
Friday and Saturday.
Okay.
But, it should be a really interesting, unique moment for me. And I can't wait for it, to be honest.
Awesome, man. That's really exciting.
It's very weird, a little self-indulgent, but I'm pretty pumped.
Yeah, it's okay to be self-indulgent. This is your time.
Don't
worry about it,
think
man.
about it. It's my time. I feel like Lady Gaga.
Not in that ass. Yeah, it's my time. A star is born, everyone.
Yes, a star is born. But it should be good. I really am excited for people to hear it. It'll be special live. That's how I feel. It'll be a really fun moment for me, actually looking around the stage that we're sitting on now and laying it down. Because last night running through it was a special moment for me, and I really felt something. Doing old material that you're not really sick of. With the comic that you are 4 years later can be great. It's like that material was a little juvenile, or just in terms of it wasn't as mature as the stuff that I have sort of grown into writing. But performing it as a comic who's a way better comedian, that's a really unique experience that I never gotten to before. Do you know what I mean?
I just want to say I think it's fascinating when I'm not a comedian.
Sure.
I think it's fascinating when I hear comics say, I'm bored with that joke or bored with that story.
Sure.
I'm just sick of it.
I get bored of certain jokes in certain settings. Like sometimes you got to kill time with an old joke in a room you don't really want to be in, and that is a tough job to pull something out that you love or have once loved, and just beat that dead horse again and again. That can be brutal.
Yeah, I got to keep this to a secret. I gotta have to sell it to these people to laugh at this, but I'm not into it.
Yeah, I mean it won't be like that tonight. I do feed off the energy of an audience. So last night's audience was so fun and special that it was. I felt really, really pumped. And my openers here are great, really good guys, Robert and I think Johnny. And yeah, they've been really, really interesting, cool dudes.
Very cool.
So
very cool. That helps. That's got to help.
Yeah.
So since you've never been on this podcast, we should do a little more about how you got your start. I've read quite a bit about you.
Go ahead.
And
ask away.
Yeah, first of all, I'm not sure where exactly to start, but I'm just going to say this. I don't think I've done, 312 episodes of this thing, right? So some people have been on numerous times, others one time. It's quite a few different people is my point.
Sure.
To. I don't think out of all of the hundreds of guests I've had on, I don't think I've had someone that has had so many family members with Wikipedia pages as well as...
Who's got a Wikipedia page? AJ has one probably, right? My brother.
Your brother and your father.
Oh, Elazar. Yeah, my dad's got a real impressive resume.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a genius. I don't know. Look, there might be someone stalking my family because I have a strict don't check Wikipedia policy.
Okay.
But
you know what? Honestly, I usually don't either because it's full of a lot of BS.
Yeah, but my brother was telling me, there's a lot of old and inaccurate information on your Wikipedia. And I was like, I don't care. But I checked my dad's a little while ago, and it's got a lot of his accomplishments on it. My dad's an impressive dude.
Yeah.
And my brother, AJ's an Olympian.
Yeah.
He made the freaking Olympics. That's something special.
That's crazy.
Oh, it's so nuts. I had no faith in him that he would make the Olympics, and then he went ahead and just got in and did it. So he competed in skeleton, which is like luge, but head first for Israel, which is a really cool little distinction. I'm very proud of him. It's unbelievable.
It's so weird.
It's such a weird thing. But wow, right? Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you were the family, Boston area, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And your brother, just like you, raised in that area, but then ends up
qualifying for the Winter Olympics for Israel.
How I did a little research on this. So he has residency, or how does that work? Or how does it?
I don't know actually. I don't know if he's a citizen or not.
You're citizen. Yeah. How does that work when you do?
I have no idea. I think he established citizenship, there a few years ago, and then decided, I want to make a go of it. But he's back at home in Boston, figuring out his next move. I don't know what you do after you make the Olympics, right? Like you're just. Get an office job, you probably feel bored as shit.
Right.
So he's got a great one. Austin doesn't have a Wikipedia page. My youngest brother, he's a sophomore at MIT.
But just
I don't think. Yeah, just that, right? He's gonna be he'll be an entrepreneur of some kind that blows us all out of the water.
Uh-huh.
He's a smart kid, really smart kid, and my dad's a borderline genius. My mom's intelligent too, but I doubt that she's got a Wikipedia page.
I don't remember seeing one.
No, but I mean, yeah, 2 Wikipedia pages. I mean, I'm sure there's some comics who somewhere down the line that you've interviewed that have got.
I don't know. I think you have three's the record, man.
I have the shortest one. I have the shortest Wikipedia page of everybody. Probably has the Edinburgh Comedy Award on there, and maybe something else. Probably mentions me in relation to Arj, because Arj won the award in the 90s, 97.
I think, yeah, something I read about you had his name in it.
Yeah, the funny thing is it was like, almost 20 years between me and Arj winning the award.
Oh, wow.
And then in 2 years after I won it, Natalie Palamides, who's also an American, won the award that last year. And she is a special, special talent, Natalie. But yeah, I love the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. It's the biggest arts festival in the world by far. Great comedy festival. A must-do for comedy fans. If you're a big comedy fan, that should be on your bucket list. And I've been lucky enough to go there, 3 times with solo shows, and I've always had a good time.
Okay, now you say that. One of the reasons I ever got this gig hosting this podcast for Acme is because I'm such a huge comedy fan.
Sure.
That what you just said, it's not really on my bucket list. I want to go to Montreal sometime.
Great festival.
Just for laughs. Yeah.
How about Melbourne? Is Melbourne on your bucket list?
Sure.
No, serious. Is Melbourne Comedy Festival on your bucket list? You haven't heard of it?
Oh, are you kidding me? I've definitely heard of it.
Okay.
No, only because it seems to me so unrealistic, honestly, that I'll ever get to Australia.
Sure. I get that. I mean, Edinburgh should be. Here's why Edinburgh should be on your bucket list, because it's the rest of the world's proving ground for stand-up. And honestly, the stand-up scene here in the States, in North America, to me, obviously, we have the best comedians. I think we have the best comics. We have the world's great comedy voices. But, in England and Australia and New Zealand, to a lesser extent, in Canada to a lesser extent, or not Canada to a lesser, in like Ireland to a lesser extent, there is a absolutely enormous appetite for stand-up comedy that per capita is bigger than our appetite for stand-up comedy. The amount of people, percentage-wise of the population, that are aware of various stand-up comics, that I'd say the average British person is aware at any time of 40 stand-up comedians. 30 to 40 stand-up comedians.
Wow.
And I'd say that the average American's probably aware of, 6, 7 maybe.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Uh-huh.
But, they have comedy shows there, like panel shows, and they're huge. So, they're aware of certain comics that are, some of them are retired, but, there are a whole bunch of household names, a lot of household names there. And, Rich Hall, who's a great American stand-up comic, is one of those names, by the way. He lives over there and is enormously popular and plays sort of big theaters or small arenas. So like Edinburgh is where all those comics are found and where all those comics have gone at some point. And my favorite British, Irish, even in some American stand-up comedians have all gone there and been nominated for the Edinburgh Comedy Award. And so it's a big deal to me.
Yeah. And they also do a lot more reviewing of shows and comedy shows, right? It's so different than here.
A lot more. Their comedy writers the writers about comedy are way better than America's writers about comedy, with Jason Zinnemann and Julie Seabaugh and a few others as exceptions. No, those are the American ones.
Okay.
But in the UK, there are guys who are really well respected. The critic for The Guardian hates me, but like besides him, I've always done well press wise, and it's a lot of fun. It's
interesting, like if I did do a search of your name, how many different articles come up written because of you performing?
Oh, a
overseas?
Ton. There are a lot of I've probably got an enormous press footprint. I don't read reviews, and like I said, the guy from The Guardian doesn't like me, so I'm sure infuriatingly the top hits are not glowing reviews. But the show that I just did was one of the best reviewed comedy shows at the Edinburgh Fringe ever, and it was the best reviewed show this year. And so apparently, that is a point of pride for me. I'm told that it's something to be proud of. So yeah, I'm proud of it, I guess.
When you go over and participate in that, how many shows are you doing?
You do an hour a day every day for a month at least.
Yeah.
I did about 100 shows this year. I worked really hard.
Over there
in a month, yeah.
100.
Mm-hmm.
Dude.
Not all of them were hours, but I got up at least twice a day, 3 times a day, every day over the course of... I work really hard at that festival. But it's a great festival. It's the comedy capital of the world, and I drive myself into the ground, sort of getting there, getting to be better, betting stuff in, working. And I say it's... Guess how many comedy shows there are a day at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival? Would you like to guess?
20.
Guess again.
This must be more. 50? I have no
3,960 something this year.
What?
A day.
How is that possible?
Every comedy there are 20 there are 20 different venues in the complex that I was performing in, and each of them have 10 shows a day. Every day for with 15-minute turnovers. They start at 11 a.m. They finish at 1 a.m. It's intense, man.
All right, so now you say have it on a bucket list. If I go over there and go to that show, how do I buy a ticket to? How many shows am I seeing in one day? How do they sell those tickets?
Oh, you're seeing however many shows you're willing to.
Is it a pass to go to everything?
You can get passes at various venues if you're part of a visiting company. I had a pass this year, so I saw a lot of shows. All right, no, I didn't see as many shows. I saw the least shows I've ever seen, but it was still probably 20 comedy shows. Probably saw 20 shows.
Yeah,
but like. Yeah, it's an investment. It's £10 a ticket, so you're going to spend £200 if you're going to see, 20 shows.
Mm-hmm.
But what's that, 20 times 10? Yeah, that's £200. But, like, you got to decide what to see. But there are a million. It's the third largest ticket-selling event in the world. Behind the Olympics and the World Cup, it's the third largest ticket-selling event in the world. And this year was bigger than the World Cup. They did more for some reason.
Really?
Yeah, they did more tickets. Yeah, I mean, like, dude, the population of the city swells by 3 times during the festival. It's absolutely heaving with people. And some venues have 1,000 seats. There are some guys who sell 30,000 seats over the course of a month and add extra shows. David O'Doherty adds extra shows. He's incredible. There are a whole bunch of great... I mean, it's the biggest comedy event on the planet, and it doesn't even come close.
So you did that, when was that this year? It was...
August, all of August.
Okay.
And then after that, the second largest isn't Montreal, it's Melbourne.
And we went there too?
I went there too. But that was in March and April. Uh-huh. That was 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks.
100 more shows?
Not 100. That you only do one show a day. You have a few little extras, but it's mostly just your show. It's not as shows don't start at 11 a.m. They start at like 6:15, 6:30 p.m. because it's not like in Edinburgh the city shuts down for the festival basically for a month in the summer. No one does shit. In Melbourne is a little more like you're doing shows after people's work times and they come see you at work, or they come see you after work. So it's a little more human.
Did you cross paths with Arj this year?
Yeah, I saw him in Melbourne. I run into Arj pretty regularly. I think he's one of the best comedians. Arj is one of the biggest comedians in the world.
I know.
Not a lot of people know that because they don't realize, but every person in Australia knows who Arj Barker is, and if they don't,
I know, it's amazing.
But he's a great comic. He deserves that accolade, and he does a new hour every year. At that Melbourne Comedy Festival, and then he tours it.
Yeah. He's been on this podcast several times. We've talked about.
He is a genius. Mm-hmm. He is at his best. He's one of the best comics on the planet. So I bet he sells out when he's here. People know Arj.
But he has a good following here.
Of course he does. Yeah. He's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, he's been coming here for a long time, to Acme specifically.
Yeah, nothing but great things to say about that guy. I think he's super brilliant.
So could you ever, I don't know why you would, but could you just leave the United States and just forever do your career and be happy and successful?
Yeah, but gross. I love those places. I want to live there. I'm an American, man. Like I'm a kind of a shitty American too. Like, I like cheese and I like gross overheaped burgers, and I'm a very red-blooded American, and I don't mean racist or sexist the way some people are like, hey, he's just a red-blooded American male.
Oh, we know what he means in 2018.
I just like being an American. I like being American. I like living here. I don't ever want to give that up. I could live in London. The quality of life is pretty high. I enjoy it. I have a lot of friends there. I have, a radio series there that I do regularly and comes out and is fun, but I'm an American,
So where are you living now? Where are the rest of your clothes? Where's your dresser?
New York City.
New York City?
New York, apartment in New York. Some of my clothes are at home, and some of my clothes are at storage in Los Angeles, and some are at home at my parents' place in Boston. So I'm scattered all over the world. And my girlfriend's in London. But, I'm very, very much I'm very much an American resident. But yeah, I could live somewhere else, but why would you? My career in the US is going all right, and I just happen to want to fold that in, so I spent some time there and put that work in.
No, I think it's great.
Yeah.
I think it's absolutely great. I do have a few more questions about the whole Olympic thing with your brother.
Go ahead, yeah, absolutely.
So I read somewhere you went there and watched him?
I went and watched.
Just in South Korea?
Yeah, it was amazing. It was so cool. He was great.
Did he participate in the opening ceremonies?
He did.
Were you there for that?
I was not. I was in Israel, weirdly enough, watching him on a TV. And
okay.
I watched him on Israeli television represent the Israeli team. And
how proud are they of him in Israel?
They love him. He's a bit of a household name, small, just in a few households. But he walks down the street, and occasionally people are like, Adam Edelman.
No shit.
Yeah, it was crazy watching him sign autographs for Korean children and stuff. Or people run up to him in the streets in Pyeongchang, Israel. But it was cool. I have never seen anything like it, and I'll never go back. I hated the Olympics. I loved watching him, but I hated it.
Why?
It's so much corporate sponsorship. They only take the Olympics credit card, and they only, the food is McDonald's, and the drinks are Coca-Cola, and it's insanely corporate, insane.
You may as well have been at Disney World or something.
Yeah, the prices were like that, and it was a mess. It was a mess to get around. The stadiums were empty. Sold out and empty because all the tickets are sitting on the desk of some middle manager at a tire company that sponsors figure skating or some crap like that. Do you know what I mean? So no one was at the actual games because they were all tickets given to sponsors.
Sure.
So I didn't absolutely adore that, but it was a special, unique. Talk about bucket list, man. Going to the Olympics in Korea.
Crazy.
Ooh. It was unbelievable. The whole thing was just, I was beside myself. It was special. That was special.
Did you see any other events besides what you did?
Yeah, I saw figure skating. I saw snowboarding. I saw Shaun White do incredibly well and win his medal. I saw Chloe Kim win her medal.
Nice.
Oh, it was unbelievable. That was cool. I saw our ice hockey team lose in a heartbreaking fashion to Croatia or some crap or the Czech Republic and some crap like that. But that was the neatest. Ray Bork was there, one of my heroes from when I was a kid. I was stood next to Ray Bork for a minute. Oh, holy shit. It was so cool.
Had you been to that part of the world before?
Nah. I've been in Japan on a quick vacation in 2016. But no, never been to Korea. And I did a show in Seoul, which was...
while you were there?
Yeah, while I was there, someone went, do you want to do a show in Seoul? And I was like, heck yeah, I want to do a show in Seoul. That was really neat. That was really special. I mean, it is a great, great city. And we had a absolutely bananas incredible time because my brother, look, your sibling makes the Olympics, although I probably made more money than he has off the endeavor by talking about it. I've mentioned it a few times. But yeah, he's really cool. He's really funny, and
what do they say? In the Olympic Village, sex is crazy. Does he stay in the Olympic
not
Village?
True. He did stay in the Olympic Village.
Do you go in there and visit?
I walked in. I saw a whole bunch of it. People keep to themselves,
They do,
baby.
okay.
There are a few athletes who have heard that, who are really excited about it, but
yeah,
mostly the condoms disappear as souvenirs, right? They disappear and then they go. But my brother was like, yeah, no one's having sex, man. Also, the Winter Olympics and the Summer Olympics probably a little different, right?
True.
Winter Olympics, everyone's bundled up, and
Yeah.
but the Summer Olympics, people must just be woof.
Yeah. Well,
But yeah, it was cool. It was cool. It was cool watching him.
and skeleton is such a
Dangerous sport.
how. I think I read how he chose that, but how did he choose that?
I think he just wanted a sport that was competitive and dangerous and interesting, a bit of an adrenaline junkie, and then he started doing it and thought, okay, I'm going to make the fucking Olympics with this. So he did it. He went out, and I remember getting the email that said he made the Olympics, and I screamed. I absolutely screamed. They weren't going to offer him a place, but then they did. And that was, there was something really interesting. The guy from Liechtenstein.
Yeah.
Made the Olympics, but his federation hadn't filed the right paperwork. So his spot went to someone from Jamaica, which I thought was sad as hell. But, AJ, thankfully, his federation in Israel came through, and we got to go watch him. And, I mean, what a pursuit. What an incredible thing that he was able to do.
I watched the opening ceremonies. I remember commenting about, look at this country has, the United States team comes out, and they're they've got 500 athletes or whatever.
Athletes, every discipline.
Yeah, and then Israel came out. How many was it
12, 13 athletes, maybe more actually. Picking off the speed skater, the two figure skaters, the skier, and then AJ. Yeah, it was incredible.
What were you doing? You said you watched the beginning in Israel. What were you doing there?
I was there for a bar mitzvah. I know it's not exciting, but I was there for a bar mitzvah.
Family?
Friends. I had a show in Turkey. I had shows in London, then a show in Turkey, then a show in Israel. Then just visiting Israel, and then I went to go to Korea to see AJ. So that was a whirlwind few days in February.
Okay, wow,
it's cool.
I'm a Olympics fan, so I love all that.
Are you
stuff.
really?
Yeah, I really enjoy it.
What's your sport? What's your favorite?
Summer. I like summer better than winter.
Have you been to the Summer Olympics?
No, I would love to.
Well, when do we get? We're getting one, aren't we?
Yeah,
I think the
where is
States
that
has successfully
gonna
bid on something.
be? Yeah.
Might be L.A. No,
Is
it wouldn't be L.A. It might be Chicago.
No,
someone bid on.
Yeah.
Wait, Chicago lost their bid.
Well, there were a lot. Even Minneapolis was in the running at one point, but
Yeah, well, Boston was in the running, and then Bostonians were like, "No, no, we don't want it."
Well, yeah, when you really dig deep, you find out that these places lose millions and millions of dollars a lot of times, and it's not even it's instead of being a economic boom, it ruins them. And
Yeah, it is a real ruiner. I'm wondering who. I'm wondering which. Here, I'm going to ask Siri. Oh well, Siri doesn't want to be asked, but
in the Summer Olympics, I like swimming. In the winter, hockey, definitely.
Los Angeles won 2028.
See?
Yeah. Hockey is the fun one, yeah.
I'll start saving up now, 2028.
Hey man, it's a lot of fun. It's worth going. Tokyo's 2020. Wow, Paris is going to be 2024. That is going to be fun. But I wonder who's got the Winter Olympics. Any guesses on where I actually know where the Winter Olympics are going to be in 2022.
Oh, I don't remember.
I think they are going to be in China somewhere. Where the Winter Olympics are going to be in, let's see, who will host Beijing. Beijing will be the 2022 Winter Olympics.
Have you ever thought about was there a sport you would have had a chance If you would have tried as hard as your brother to try to make a team, is there one you could have possibly had a slim maybe
I tried out for certain U.S. ice hockey teams, various younger ice hockey teams.
Really?
And, but, I would not, I'm trying to think. Look, the thing is that anyone can do it. Really. If my brother can do it, anyone can do it. All you need is blinding dedication. And that's what my brother did. He blindly dedicated himself to making the Olympics, and he fucking did it.
Yeah.
So it is sort of an inspiring story, actually. What would I pick? What would be my sport, huh? Yeah, I'm a really decent ice hockey player, but I don't know that I could play at an Olympic level. Maybe now that it's amateurs, I'd have a shot.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, no more.
No more NHL.
Do you know Ahmed Barucha?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you know he travels with his hockey equipment when he goes on the road?
He's that big a fan? He plays that intensely?
He came, he was on the podcast, I don't know, a month and a half ago, and it was like, what have you been doing? Well, earlier today I found a pickup game of hockey.
You know what? Someone told me there's
pickup game. He travels.
I believe him. I mean, that's great.
Yeah.
He must have good baggage checks and stuff like that. I really like...
I was curious about that, too.
Yeah, I really like... someone was telling me about pickleball, which seems like it'd be fun to do.
Oh, yeah. I don't know much about that.
Yeah, me neither. Pickleball. Still.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool.
So you played hockey growing up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Played hockey growing up, was really into it, really intensely into it. Had a great time.
What was the last level you played at?
Hockey? Whatever the highest is before you get into junior A's.
Okay.
So I guess junior C's or whatever the Bostonian equivalent is. But I would have played in college. But being a student athlete is really difficult, and I really focused on writing and performing at that point. So by then I was already kind of out of it.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm glad you bring up the Olympics, man. That is a special thing and is so much fun to do. And I mean, we got to meet some cool ass people, some, including one, my friend Holly Whitleff, who's from here, and we just hung out yesterday. She had a family member in the Olympics also. And
oh, cool.
So yeah, I met some people from all over the world and stayed in touch, and that's what it really is for. It's a great. I wish they'd take some of the corporate sponsorship out, because besides that, it is one of the great examples of fellowship on the planet.
Okay.
And it's really a real world stage, and there are people from every country, it feels like, and it's just cool.
Yeah. I look forward to it every 2 years. I guess we do it now.
Yeah.
Winter, summer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I look forward to it big time. Something I want to ask you about. I have two daughters.
Sure.
12 and 10. My 12-year-old just got she hasn't done anything with it yet, but she just signed up and was accepted to be part of their school newspaper.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I don't know exactly. I think she said she wants to do reviews. So whatever that means for a 6th grader, right?
Yep.
But then doing research about you. What age did you start doing your writing career?
I started
13?
Yeah, I started writing for the Red Sox when I was 13. I wrote the kids' newsletter.
Yeah, so I'm going to be hanging this, now that I found that out, it'll be, over my daughter's head. Like, come on.
Yeah, you should.
Pick it up.
It's so funny, though. She says, I was watching the Robin Williams documentary, and there's a clip of him and Steve Martin in Waiting for Godot. And Steve Martin and him are going back and forth. They're trading insults, and one goes scumbag, and the other says sewer rat, and someone goes filth, someone goes moron, and someone goes jerk, and someone goes critic, and the other guy goes oh! Like that's the worst thing you can be called. And Steve Martin does like a whole clutches his chest and everything like that. It's very funny. But so critic is the lowest thing you can be. But there are some good ones. Gail Anderson at the Herald in Scotland is pretty special. But and Veronica Lee, who writes for City Desk or Arts Desk, is great. And Zinnemann and Jesse Fox, who are at Vulture and the New York Times and Vulture respectively, are great comedy critics. But Yeah, it's hard. It's a hard job. Anyway, baseball was my first love. So writing as a kid for the Red Sox, I worked at the Red Sox from 03 to 07. So I was there for the Aaron Boone heartbreak in 03, the breaking of the curse in 04, and then the World Series in 07. So I saw some cool ass stuff. Yeah.
So it started as a writing? You were writing?
I was writing a school thing on the Red Sox, a school project. And then I asked for help from this woman who worked at the Red Sox named Colleen Riley, who's a very good woman. And then Colleen
And she's
said,
just like, oh, I'll help this little kid out.
She was. That literally was exactly, just for no reason other than the goodness of her heart, helped me out. The extreme goodness of her huge heart. And this woman, Colleen, brought me in, and this guy, Charles Steinberg, was the vice president there, and Colleen was like, can we keep him? And Charles Steinberg was like, yeah, okay. So I stayed. I stayed there. I had a great time.
Did you have a little kid office at Fenway?
Yeah, I had a little office, little
For
cubicle.
real?
I had a cubicle till 2006 when I had my own little office with another guy named David Fine from Baltimore. We shared an office. And then I went to the Dodgers and had a good time there. And then
How does that happen?
our boss got hired away and said, do you want to come work at the Dodgers? And I said, hell yeah. So I
At
got
what
a job
age were
working
you?
at the
Like
Dodgers.
you were-
I was 18.
Okay, so you just finished high school?
Just finished high school. And
Like, hey, leave this side of the country and come to
yeah, I mean, I'd
California.
spent a year in Israel, and I was working remotely. Then I went there for the summer, and then I got back. I got back to Israel, and I mean, I got back to the States and went back and worked there, and then went to NYU, went back and worked there again, and then was unceremoniously fired during the divorce between the two owners of the Dodgers.
Oh, yeah.
And then I spent one summer working for the Brewers in Milwaukee, and it was a sad summer, but that was my life. I've had a pretty colored sports life, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, these fruit flies are killing me.
I know. I saw you were trying to swat one away, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
I think it's come over here now.
But yeah, your daughter. So how old are your kids?
12 and 10.
That's cool. Mm-hmm. And she's getting into writing for the school paper. That's a fun gig.
Yeah, well, we're trying to get her into something, you know?
Yeah, that's the challenge, right? Getting my little brother, we were always like, what is he into? And he'd be like, saltines. It's not enough. It's not enough.
Oh, they have that in common, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So you spent some time in Milwaukee, too, working, huh?
That was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was underage, so I can only drink in every bar. Milwaukee's a drinking town, but it isn't a strict one.
Uh-huh.
It was great. There's a place called Victor's, which everybody knows as Victims, and that was
Okay.
it was wild.
Do you, today, not as big of a baseball. Baseball's not as important to me as it once
Sure,
was.
I can hear that. I hear that.
There are a lot of reasons. But, however, I still have a huge collection of, sports memorabilia. Like,
Yeah.
just from baseball cards to autograph shit to.
Dude, I hear you.
How about you? You must have some kick-ass souvenirs from working for these teams?
I have some incredible souvenirs.
Blow me away, please.
Wow.
You didn't get a World Series ring, did you? You do? You have one?
2007,
You
baby.
son of a bitch! Do you really?
Yeah, just a small one, but it's cool.
Do they put diamonds in that one?
Yeah, there's some diamonds in there, and
Dude!
My favorite thing is I have Johnny Damon's bat from his 100th home run as a Red Sox, or his 100th career home run. Maybe I can't remember which one it was. It was a milestone bat. Shit, I have it written down somewhere. I have some autographed Bobby Orr stuff. He's my favorite hockey player growing up, and I met him there. I have a champagne bottle from the 2013 World Series celebration in the clubhouse, which I value pretty highly. And
Wait, were you in there?
Yeah, I was in there. I went back. This is the coolest thing. It's just a sheet of paper. It's pretty special. In 2013, we had the marathon bombing, and I went back to the Red Sox just to help out for a few weeks. And I have the first draft of the address from over the PA for the first game back after the marathon bombing.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just got chills.
Oh man, me too.
For real.
It
I'm
was
not
cool. It was the most memorable, one of the most memorable days of my life. Terrorism has been weirdly big in my life. It happened a bunch in Israel when I was living there. When I was a kid, and then happened again when I was living there in Israel, and then happened in Boston, which is my hometown. And, to say nothing of New York, which I wasn't in, obviously, but, my father was on the plane out before that plane to D.C.
Jesus.
Before the one that hit the Pentagon, I think.
Uh-huh.
So, we've been... that being part of that ceremony. This is not funny, by the way. No one's gonna.
I was just gonna say, have you tried to turn this into a joke somewhere?
Yeah, no one's gonna be like, "Wow, we better go see that terrorism-touched comedian." Boy, just so you know, you should love me because I hate bombing. Already, there's a joke. There's a joke about terrorism.
There you go.
But yeah, it was cool, and I have some cool shit from my baseball life. There's some stuff signed by the commissioner, Bud Selig, who was important to me when I was... Bud Selig, super underrated commissioner, I think. I think the game will exculpate his... I think his legacy will... I think he'll one day be seen as sort of one of the great commissioners of all time.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I mean, there was one time where he couldn't have been a bigger villain in this state.
Yeah, I mean... Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he was hated. Absolutely hated.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
It's so funny.
Oh, you want to take our team away?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, fuck you.
That's right.
Yeah.
He wanted to move him out.
Uh-huh.
But Bud is I think Bud is a complicated man, but he's always done what's best for baseball, and he's presided over it during troubled times, and the strike really hurt baseball, obviously, but I think it's baseball's an enormously successful sport. It does really well vis-a-vis attendance. It's still America's pastime by far. Football plays 16 games a year, which is huge. But imagine football played 165 games a year. The viewing figures would be much smaller. So baseball is played day in and day out in front of the worst teams in baseball get still, 15,000 people a night. That's a huge, huge amount.
Yeah.
So I think it's a special sport and still occupies a really big place in my heart. It's a really great sport if you like an hour of excitement stretched out over the course of 2.5 years. So, my joke about baseball.
2.5 years.
2.5 years.
Nice job.
It is really, really lengthy, baby.
So do you, Red Sox
all the way, baby.
Houston starts Saturday.
Saturday night at 8. I think it'll be a tough series. I think it's even money right now. I don't know who's going to win. The Red Sox bullpen clearly needs help.
Even money in your mind, or realistic? Because in Vegas, Houston is the favorite.
In my mind, it's even money just because the Red Sox have been such an offensive powerhouse. And I do think their starting pitching is going to show up. And their starting pitching has been great, although Houston has beaten them a bunch of times. And Houston looks phenomenal. I would love to see a Houston-Milwaukee World Series, too, because Milwaukee's team is on the waiting list. Milwaukee hasn't won a World Series in a long time.
3 of the 4 teams in the playoffs you've worked for.
Oh, man, the Dodgers. Is it Dodgers? Is it Doyers? Yeah, you're right. Oh, my God. I've worked for 3 of these 4 teams. And my friend Steph Wilka, I think, is still at the Houston Astros.
Yeah, or when are you getting a job with?
Yeah, I've worked for 3 of the 4 teams in the playoffs.
That's crazy.
I have not thought about that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Or let's put it this way, every team that you've worked for is in the playoffs.
Wow, I am a lucky charm this year.
Huh?
Boy, that is really interesting to think about.
Yeah.
I have not thought about that, actually.
Son of a bitch. I also saw that Sunday, I don't know where you'll be Sunday evening is going to be a big evening for a Boston sports fan if you still like or do you like the Patriots?
Yeah, huge.
Yeah, they're not Sunday Night Football.
Where are they playing?
Huh?
Where are they playing? In home in Foxborough?
Yes, against the undefeated Chiefs.
Yes, I don't think the Patriots will win that game, but I would love to be proven wrong there.
In an hour before that, the Boston-Houston play game 2.
Unbelievable, in Boston.
Yeah.
So I think I should go home. I think I should go home for that. I could get tickets to it pretty easily. So yeah, I should bounce home for that.
That was what I was going to ask you next, as a matter of fact. So do you still have connections with these teams?
Yeah. No, I'm very close with a bunch of the people who work there, and these people formed the basis of my childhood. I had a lot of I have a lot of love for those organizations and the Red Sox in particular, and hating the Yankees in particular.
Good.
I hate the fucking Yankees.
Yeah, well, I'm a Twins fan, so I do too.
Oh, that's right. I've always grown up hating the goddamn Yankees. They are rooting for them is like rooting for Bank of America. They are the, and I know people who are Yankees fans, and I hope they eat dirt. And I know people who are Yankees fans, and I've called to laugh at them this past week.
Good.
Nothing is like beating the Yankees. If we get bounced in the playoffs, it's still been a successful year. We beat the fucking Yankees, and now we're in the ALCS against a very excellent team. But man, beating the Yankees, I was here. I had the Tuesday night show.
Yeah.
I went into that bar over there, empty bar, except for Luis, the bartender.
Yeah.
And who's the same guy again? Brandon. I think it was Brandon. Yeah, it was Brandon. Brandon and Luis were there, and Brandon poured me some whiskey, and I watched the Red Sox pull it out. They almost frittered it away. I'm not sure if you saw.
I did. I was watching.
Oh my God, it was very stressful.
Yeah.
The winning run was on first base.
I know, ninth inning drama.
Yeah, they had another game to get it done if that had happened.
I tried to. My wife is the anti-sports fan. She does not care.
Well, no one's perfect, but yeah.
So I'm trying to explain to her in the ninth inning, like, honey, do you see this guy that's at bat for the Yankees, Giancarlo Stanton? I'm like, he's making millions and millions of dollars to have success right now. What we are watching right now, if he fails right now, it's double failure. This is what they brought him in for, to have an at bat with the bases loaded with a game on the line.
Oh man, it was so stressful. It was really stressful. Yeah.
Let's see. What I also saw. A few more things I want to.
Go ahead.
Cover. I saw that you kind of. Would you consider Mike Kaplan a mentor?
I'd consider Mike someone I very. Yeah, I mean, of sorts. I think of when someone asks me who my mentor is, I say Gary Gulman, who's a great stand-up comic from Boston.
Yeah.
And Mike was important to me when I was starting out, and very, very kind to me, and really, really. Him and Joe List were really two guys that I looked up to. Him, Joe List, Shane Moss. He's here a lot.
Dude.
Shane, Joe, and Mike were the guys that I admired starting in Boston, and still continue to admire those guys. I think they're absolutely wonderful comedians. But yeah, Mike and I spent some time together at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival this year, and he is just the greatest comedian.
He's one of my favorites.
He's so funny and sharp and economical in his language. And if you don't Meet Robot, one of his albums, one of my favorites.
So good.
Vegan Mind Meld, is that one of his too?
It is.
I mean, just two great comedy albums, and I know there's more, but he's just an absolute killer. He's so funny and fucking sharp. I really love him.
Yeah. Shane Moss is awesome. I'm glad you brought
Shane's
his name.
Great. Shane was one of the first comics I saw at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, 2012. He went out there, and I went to go see his show. I was just there as a visitor that year.
Oh, okay.
But he was special, and he still is. He's a great comedian.
Yeah. He had some amazing stories last time he was here.
About drugs?
Yes. It was post check-in at a psych ward and all that stuff. Yeah.
What?
He's had a pretty fucked up last year.
Yeah, I should call him.
Yeah.
Do you have his number? I'm gonna give him a shot.
Maybe.
I have his old one. I gotta give him a call.
Maybe. This is a weird coincidence. My mom is leaving for a vacation in Boston tomorrow.
What do you want me to say to that? What do you want me to give recommendations? I'll give you recommendations.
Yeah.
Union Oyster House. Go to a game at Fenway Park so you can get tickets.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Yeah, I don't know. Wow. I mean, there'll be plenty of tickets for the Patriots game resold. Man, I love Boston. Go to Empire, any of the big night restaurants. There's a place called Sinatra's, which is good, and I mean, hey, some pretty good local comedy there as well, if she gives a shit about that kind of thing.
Oh, that actually reminds me of something else I wanted to ask you. Why not? I mean, it's awesome you're doing the recording here at Acme. Why not hometown?
Boston? Why not Boston? Don't know. It's a bigger club. Honestly, too big. Wanted to do it in a more intimate space. This is just the right amount of intimate for me. Ceilings are low, but it's not empty. It's not cavernous like certain other comedy clubs maybe in this area. And I really wanted to do an intimate comedy club with a low ceiling and great acoustics. So that's why this one.
Okay. Okay. Favorite Boston Red Sox player of all time? Is that too hard to ask?
No, not at all.
Okay.
When I was a kid, I was obsessed with Nomar Garciaparra.
Okay. Has he gotten back in the batter's box, or is he still adjusting his batting gloves?
He's still adjusting his batting gloves, always stepping out. You know, kids in wiffle ball games, we would step out, we would adjust our batting gloves forever.
You little dicks.
We loved it so much. Nomar was great. And he's married to Mia Hamm, which is just wonderful. Apparently, they're very happy together.
Oh yeah.
There's Nomar. Carlton Fisk was special to me.
Sure.
For his big home run.
Sure.
Ted Williams is, to me, one of the great baseball players of all, one of the great Americans of all time in terms of, not one of the great dads of all time, but definitely one of the great Americans. One of the coldest Americans of all time. He's been frozen. Ted Williams.
Yeah.
David Ortiz is really, okay, I think I've got to go, and I hate guys who get asked about their favorite of all time, and they go with somebody recent.
Okay.
But Ortiz just was a really special player for the Red Sox, and he was there for 3 World Series. And, you know, the Red Sox never lost in a World Series, I don't think, in my lifetime. Every time they've made it, they've won. And Ortiz has been a big part of that. And he was a delight to be around, and I spent a lot of time with him at certain periods, and he was great. But there were guys who had one great moment, like Dave Roberts, or there were guys who were just special people.
Jeff Cesario was here last week, and we talked.
Oh, he's so funny.
We talked just a little bit about Dave Roberts, about how a crazy.
Did he do Chet Waterhouse? Did he do his Chet Waterhouse impression?
Did.
Oh,
yes.
So I've done that podcast. It's fucking.
Oh, you have
packed with jokes.
Oh,
he packs the jokes in.
Yeah, he does.
Cesario absolutely packs the jokes in. Cesario in Chet Waterhouse, one of the great podcasts, one of the great joke writers, one of the great hours you can possibly spend with another human being. Absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, he's smart.
And it's one. This is his hometown club. He recommended this club, by the way, as a place to record the album.
Good.
So, Chet, I can't say enough about Jeff Cesario.
Oh, that's cool.
About how funny he is.
Yeah, he brought up, we talked briefly about Dave Roberts having a big part of that 2004 championship.
He was a huge part of that 2004
and now
championship.
being the manager for the Dodgers.
Without him, there's nothing. Without him, there's no World Series. Without that stolen base, I don't think they win that game. And I remember watching him go. I'm in that 2004 comeback documentary that ESPN did as a 30 for 30. I'm not speaking because I'm a child, but what it was is, if you can see me crying, and you can see me crying beforehand with my head in my hands, thinking this is the same thing as the 2003 ALCS. But there was.
So you were like 15 or something?
I was 15.
Oh.
There was a moment. There's a moment though where Roberts, he's got his foot on the bag, and he just looked at the Yankee dugout. And I was sitting legitimately right next to the Yankee dugout. I remember locking eyes with someone in the Yankee dugout, and Roberts looks over at them, and instinctively, one of the pitchers just went, "He's going." And it was the most unnecessary thing, because even I was 15, and even I knew Roberts was going. Even I knew that Roberts was going to go try to take that second base,
right,
and steal that base. And it was bigger than sports. It was a civic moment where the whole city grew up. I grew up caring so much about the Red Sox, and I still love the team, but it's more of a sports fandom now than it was a religion for me growing up. That was special. It was just a special moment where he plants his foot and takes off. I'm getting chills thinking about it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Now let's go back a second here. Was the post Boston bombing game and the speech, and you have the
yeah, I helped out with.
Was
that
that
speech.
Was that when David Ortiz
said, "This is our fucking city"?
Was that it?
Yeah, it wasn't that. I didn't script that. My boss, Charles Steinberg, and the CEO of the Red Sox at the time, Larry Lucchino, sort of intuited that David might say something like that, and decided to let him go and pay the fine. And they never ended up paying the fine. The FCC let it go.
Okay.
There were some complaints, actually. There's some 13 killjoys made complaints to the FCC. But it was wonderful. It was great. It was a great moment where he said, "It's our fucking city." I was standing on the field. There's news footage, and I'm in the background. You can see me just flinch because that's a six-figure fine. That's like $500,000.
Okay.
That's more. That's a huge fine. I think it's $575,000 to curse live on the air with a live stream. And you're culpable for that. The Red Sox were culpable for that, but it was an American moment that the Red Sox got some leeway for. So
Sure. Sure.
Yeah. This is our fucking city. Ain't nobody gonna dictate our freedoms.
He does now some of the pre- and post-game stuff.
Isn't that weird that announcers, a lot of the best announcers now, Tony Romo is great, and Alex Rodriguez, who I hate, is phenomenal as an announcer. And David does great post-game stuff. And Pedro is really, really, really insightful.
Yeah.
Those guys we're in a golden era of athlete commentators. I really believe that.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing.
It's good.
David Ortiz still has a thick accent. But
yeah, he's a thick accent, but he spends part of his year in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Tiffany, his wife, who's wonderful, lives in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and he's a Packers fan, been to a bunch of Packers games, Poppy.
What?
Yeah, he is. Sorry to ruin that for the more Minnesota.
Yeah, really.
Vikings
Boy, he
fans.
really freaking hates Minnesota, doesn't he?
No, he doesn't hate Minnesota. Oh, yeah, that's right. He was here for a while.
Yeah, we tried. Twins did their best to ruin him.
Well, you know who convinced the Red Sox to take him? Do you know the story? Pedro Martinez literally sent a text message to Theo Epstein and told him that. Or maybe Lucchino, but Pedro said, you need to get this guy. And they got him for nothing, and he became one of the great baseball players of all time. Yeah. So, it's unbelievable. But he wasn't happy here. He wasn't happy in Minnesota. They didn't use him well off the bench. He wasn't even going by the name Ortiz at the time, I think. I think he was going by a different name.
Yeah, on an early baseball card, he has a different name on it.
I'm going to see what he would go by. David Ortiz Wiki. Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Yeah, he went.
Does he have a long Jewish name like
David
you do?
Arias? He went by. Yeah, no, he doesn't have the long Jewish name like Alex Edelman. But early life, yeah, he would go by. He went by Arias, but yeah, the Mariners listed him as David Arias.
That's it. I think it's on an old baseball card.
Yes,
on there.
It's on an old baseball card.
Yeah,
but he's a wonderful guy, big wonderful guy. So,
right on.
Yep.
Is there anything else we should be mentioning? I think, or did we cover it all?
Have I been boring?
No. What?
I hope I haven't been boring.
No.
Oh, good.
I'll ask the fruit fly on my paper here.
Guys, come see this. If you've listened thus far, come see me record this album this week. It's going to be fucking great. I'm having a really good time. So,
and then you'll come back in a few more years and do the hour that you've been doing earlier this year.
Yeah, that
right?
would be exactly how it goes. But
okay,
yeah. That should be the case. Once you've finished doing it live, that's when you lay it down for one last time.
Right on.
But yeah, come see the end of 2015's best comedy show.
Right on.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Go Sox.
Sweet. Go Sox. Yankees suck.